there are people in power right now who have opinions about you based on their privilege of skin color. I am in the text. Pilate was European, Jesus was not European. They live in a world shaped by European standards of beauty, shaped by Moynihan studies, shaped by bell curves. They live in a different world from your world altogether. They are ignorant and arrogant, and these are graduates of Harvard and Yale setting policies for you based on the stupidity of David Hume, Immanuel Kant, Voltaire, George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel, Thomas Jefferson, a pedophile, Theodore Roosevelt, and the racist Supreme Court. Blue Monday.
Stop the music. You know, every once in a while, things occur in the United States of America that leave you with your mouth hanging over. You just heard the inner Obama. You just heard the words that are no doubt spoken in the White House when no one is listening. You just heard the modus operandi of Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, is my estimation. Whose words were those? Those were the words spoken in the Metropolitan Baptist Church in Charleston, West Virginia by Obama's pastor, Reverend Wright, who said that white supremacy drives world policy. A man who attacked some of the greatest minds in history, Thomas Jefferson and Voltaire and Theodore Roosevelt, as a politician, are beyond reproach in terms of intelligence, and yet this lowlife, nobody, hateful, black supremacist is attacking them as ignorant and arrogant. Now, if it was just a crazy, ranting preacher in a church, we wouldn't even pay attention to it. However, you have to understand that Michelle and Barack Obama sat in this guy's church for 20 straight years, had their brains filled with this hatred and these lies, and are now presiding over the destruction of the United States of America. Their minds were warped and brainwashed by this psychotic. If, again, he was not president and he sat in that church, it would be one thing. But here's a man who was president who sat in that church. When I say to you that this is the most divisive, demonic situation this country has ever been in, I am not doing this for effect. When I say to you that the Obama administration admits that tax cuts work in China, listen to this story. While speaking recently about the communist government in China, Undersecretary of State Robert Hormats, an Obama appointee, actually praised China's decision to spur economic growth by lowering taxes. Did you hear? But Obama gave an argument in Vermont on Friday saying the opposite. He says it was basic math that taxes needed to be increased on wealthy Americans so the government could do more for the poor. And then he said, this is not class envy. This is not class warfare. This is basic math. He said, look, if somebody like me gets a tax break that they don't need, let's pause right there. Of course he doesn't need a tax break. He has Air Force 1, 2, 3, U.S. military. He has every expense paid for and then some. What does he need a tax break for? But yet he attacks the very people who support him. And he's actually arguing, this is about the most distasteful thing I've ever heard come out of his mouth. He's actually arguing that's not class warfare, but that's exactly what Obama is engaging in. He's saying if you make above a certain amount, you're actually stealing money from somebody else in the United States of America. Now, why does Obama want to discourage people from being rich? Why does he attack those who work hard and are productive? Why does he support poverty? Why does he attack success? Why does he praise our worst enemies like the Muslim Brotherhood, who has just given $1.5 billion to, or is it $1.2 billion, while trying to put Israel into a box? Why does he cut the funds in the military, resulting in plane crashes such as we saw last weekend? Why does he permit our border to descend into chaos, while his Fast and Furious program weaponizes the border? Why does he, as the economy falters, reward his friends in corporations? Why does he reward his cronies who are making off with all the wealth? I've asked these questions on this show. I wrote Trickle-Down Tyranny, which, by the way, is now a raging bestseller. I don't know where it's going to be on the list, but thank you for recognizing what's at stake here. Many of you flooded the bookstores last week. And, of course, you know what's going to happen when you bring trickle-down tyranny to work, when you bring trickle-down tyranny to church, when you bring trickle-down tyranny to the polling place, when you bring trickle-down tyranny, you're going to see how tolerant the Obama socialists really are. you're going to see the country you really live in. But let us go back to Reverend Wright, who says that white supremacy drives world policy. On the face of it, it's stunning that he would get away with such racism. But when you actually analyze it, it's a lie on top of it all. Because I will remind you, and maybe this will make you uncomfortable, although he says that whites are ignorant and arrogant, 90% of all of you with that, you can call me at 1-800-449-8255. I'm willing to listen to you. The cars you drive, the lights you turn on, the medicines you use, virtually everything you do, including flushing your toilet, was a direct result of the ignorance. If you would let this psychotic get any more traction in this country, we are going to wind up in a state less than the third world. And yet your children have been subjected to this kind of vile hatred in their colleges for well over 15 years now. The so-called deconstructionists, the people who have argued that people of white skin color are actually inferior, who have argued that every white person is a racist and every black person is a victim. They are trying to trigger a race war. I have never seen anything like this, especially in an election year. Let me ask you this question. Do you think that Reverend Wright saying that white supremacy drives world policy occurred today in the Metropolitan Baptist Church in Charleston by accident? Do you believe Obama told Reverend Wright to open up again? Do you believe that Obama wants this hatred out there once again? And ask yourself why Romney says nothing about it. Romney, who could care less, in my opinion, about what we the little people are doing, is out surfboarding somewhere on Easter break or spring break. And here we have the President of the United States engaging in class warfare, triggering hatred like we've never seen since the 60s in this country. Now, it goes back to what Rahm Emanuel said, never let a crisis go to waste. It goes to the point that we're all afraid and take away more of our rights, if not all of our rights. Many of us fear this man. We watch his face. We see utter disdain, arrogance, unlike any ever seen in a democracy before. We're looking at the face of the New World Order. The face of the New World Order is what we're looking at. Do you agree with me when I write that Obama's tyranny brings a loss of freedom? Do you believe that the president is staging nothing less than an assault on our freedoms? Do you believe that this man actually cares about the poor? Or do you think that Obama is using this racial division for his own gain? What is he trying to achieve? Yes, he may steam up the Al Sharptonites. Yeah, he may join the racists in this country who steam up race against race, man against man, brother against brother. So let's say he provokes to get excited and go vote for him again. Do you think that this will alienate the blue-collar white who put him in office? You know, if you turn on the cable channels, you would think that you're living in another country. Did you know the country is still 68% European American? Did you know that? You would think that the country is 10% European American. You'd think it's 90% people of color, but you'd be wrong. The country is still 68% European American. It's a very uncomfortable fact for those at Harvard and Yale and in the White House. But the more he attacks white people through mad dogs like Reverend Wright, the more he's going to alienate the blue-collar white man. And by the way, if he doesn't alienate the blue-collar white man who put him in power, then we're all finished. And I'll say something else that maybe will make you even more uncomfortable. If the blue-collar white man votes for him again, they deserve what they will get. Okay? I'll be right back.
Savvy.